Fagan, we were just discussing before, trying to figure out what's happening. So they're able to train in full groups now with contact, is that correct?
Yeah, so that's 2 sessions a week. So we do that Monday and Friday, and then the middle of the week on Wednesday we can do full contact, but only in groups of 8. So we have 6 groups of 8 on that particular day, which makes you can only have 2 groups of 8 on the ground at any one time. So training goes for a long time in the middle of the week. But yeah, it's good, which we need that as part of our preparation going into the season. The boys need to get used to contact again. So last Friday we played a practice game for about 40 minutes, and we'll step that up to around 80 minutes this Friday, and hopefully that means we're around about right for round 1. It's a bit of guesswork at the moment, but we're trying to put some science around it.
Is that how it's going to be leading into round 1? Like it's going to be that formula, 2 days a week contact?
Yeah, leading into round this week it is, and then next week it changes a little bit. We can only have 1 full group session. So that's in season, 1 full group session, and because the game's considered the other full group session, you're allowed 2 a week. So one of them's your training session and one's your game. So the other sessions you can still do contact, but you've got to do it in groups of 8.
But is it coaching's not hard, right?
Yeah, but I mean, it's the way it is, and we all want to play. So we work out ways to, modify what we do to fit in with the new situation, and hopefully as time goes on, those things can ease. But we've been given a social licence to play the game, and we want to play the game, so we're going to play by the rules and do all the right things. And yeah, it's a bit frustrating, and I spend more hours trying to work out the logistics of everything now that never had to think about before. But that's just the way it is, and. You know what, I reckon we might even work out a couple of better ways to do things. Not all of them will be better ways, but some of them will be better ways that we'll keep when we come out of this.
Are you worried though about wear and tear, because not just fitness but getting used to clashing bodies again, and if you've only done it twice before or 3 times maybe before a full game, that could really, there could be a fair bit of damage to play.
Yeah, injury rates could go up. We don't know. I suppose it's a great experiment this year to find out. We're all hoping it doesn't, and we're doing as much as we can in our programs at the moment to mitigate that. Allowing good recovery time between sessions. Making sure that we progress the load gradually and not too fast. And look, so far so good for us. As I said, we played for 40 minutes on Friday. Basically, we have hardly anyone injured at the moment other than Marcus Adams, and we didn't get any more injuries last week. So. I think our boys have done a good job at keeping themselves really fit over the break, and this period now is all about getting used to changing direction, banging into bodies again. So we've got 2 or 3 weeks of doing that before the season starts, and the good thing is everyone's the same. It's not like it's harder on us than somebody else. We're all going to be in the same boat, so we'll see how we go.
What's some of the better things that you've the better ways of doing things that you're going to be going along with?
We did this a little bit in the past, but because we can only meet twice a week for 15 minutes indoors, and we've got to be with all the spacing protocols. So what we've tended to do a little bit more is send vision out for the players to watch at home before they come into meetings, and it's actually interesting. They've got a lot more to say when they come in, and you don't have to spend as much time explaining things. So a little bit more self-learning, which fits in pretty well with our philosophy anyway, and something we'll probably keep doing a fair bit of when all this is over.
How's the skipper? From what I've seen down here, he hasn't been doing much.
Yeah, last week he had a bit of Achilles soreness, so you don't muck around with Achilles. If you get onto them quickly, they usually settle down. So our expectation is that he'll be fine for round 1. He just had a quieter week last week, as would have anyone that was a little bit sore, just so his body can adapt to load again.
Did you see any of the NRL on the weekend?
I saw some of it, yeah.
Are you a fan of the fake crowd noise?
I don't know. I didn't spend any time formulating an opinion on that, but look, I must. It added a little bit of atmosphere to the broadcast, I guess. Was that live as well? Did the players hear that live?
No, it wasn't.
No, so it was only for TV. Yeah. Oh, probably helped the viewers.
Would it work in the AFL though? I mean, I guess there's a lot of different things that happen in the AFL with the crowd noise. It'd be hard to control. Probably.
It would be hard to control because there's like a specky mark or a great goal, all that sort of thing, and they happen spontaneously. So whether they can get their cheers and noises in sync with the events, be a good job for someone.
You just want that cheer that Lincoln got with that mark against Geelong rolling.
Yeah, no, we would, wouldn't we?
Was there, watching the footy, the NRL rather, on the weekend, was there a sense of envy that they were up and running a couple of weeks before and maybe whetting the appetite?
Oh, not really envy, because I sort of understand why the AFL isn't. It's a bit more problematic for the AFL to get a competition up and going, because Western Australia, South Australia, all the states are involved, whereas for NRL it's basically New South Wales, Queensland, one team from New Zealand and one team from Melbourne. So the logistical side of it was a little bit easier for NRL, I think, to get it up and going. It's been a bit more of a challenge for the AFL, and I actually didn't think we'd start playing until the beginning of July, so I think the AFL have done an exceptional job to get it up and going as soon as they have.
Stef Martin,
he played on Friday, so he's the first bloke ever to do an ACL and not miss a game in a season. He's a freak.
How much homework can you do on the Dockers from what's happened in round one?
Oh, well, obviously we'll have a look at their two Marsh games and also their round one game. We know that was 3 months ago, but that's all you've got to go by. There's nothing else you can go by. So I think more the focus coming into when we start again will be how we want to play, and not so much on the opposition, which in a sense is how it is most weeks anyway. We've just got to back our own systems in, turn up with good energy and see how we go. It's going to be a magical mystery tour this football season, I reckon. So that's a Beatles line, isn't it, that one? But it will be, I think. I don't know what's going to happen, but it's going to be interesting.
So you've been doing it, How much have you changed in the 3 months? How much have you changed since
The way we play?
Yeah.
Oh, not a lot. We haven't had a lot of time with them. I mean, we've only... It's a question that gets asked a fair bit in media, and I'm thinking, well, up until 2 weeks ago we hadn't seen them, so I haven't been able to do much work with them, and so it's really just getting back and going again, all our basics, and then we'll just see how the season unfolds. There's things to think about in terms of how long the game's going to go for, if they shorten the game, or if they add a couple to the bench, which we don't know whether those things are going to happen or not yet, but they might change some of the things you do tactically, which we're talking about and thinking about, but by and large the way we want to play is what we practiced over the whole summer, and we hope we can come back and do it a little bit better than what we did it in round one.
Does that mean you've got to change what happened in round one? Because it wasn't the best, obviously.
Oh, well, look, we were in the game up until about halfway through the last quarter. It was a really strange day. It was a difficult week to travel. The routines that the boys normally have when they go on the road, they couldn't do. It was basically turn up, lock yourself in your room and come out and play. So for a young team, that was pretty challenging. Hawthorn were, I think, four years older average-wise than what we were in that particular game, and they're playing at home, so they probably settled a little bit better than we did and adapted to the no crowd and no noise and the weirdness of it all. But we've had that experience now and we've learned a fair bit from it, so we think we can bounce back. And in all honesty, Hawthorn are a really good footy side, so it's no shame to be beaten by them on the MCG.
Like when you first came here, you really had a philosophy of putting onus on the players and slowly building up their accountability and taking ownership of things. Could never have predicted COVID was going to hit 3 years ago, but in hindsight, do you think what you've been able to instill in the players in terms of that aspect, this might be where it's most beneficial?
Well, I hope so. That's what I'm hoping for, and we've seen evidence of that. They're buying into everything really well. They're coming up with ideas and solutions. It's always been all of us in it together, and that hasn't changed. They were terrific over the break, the way that they cope with the change. They pretty quickly developed new routines and a new purpose to get them through that period, and now they're just really very much looking forward to playing and continuing to try and improve.
Sorry, Fagan, does this period sort of level the playing field across the competition, do you think, having such a break?
I don't know. It's so hard to look. I wish I could give you better answers than I don't know, but we've never done this before, so it's sort of a bit of an unknown. But the teams that are probably in the best physical condition are going to be an advantage early, and I don't know where we sit on that spectrum because we don't get to see what the other clubs are doing. I'm hoping that we're in good shape. I feel like we are, and that's sort of all you can think about at the moment.
Thanks for the local sporting landscape. Possibly a new team in town as far as NRL is concerned in a couple of years' time. Makes it feel proud of the landscape.
Oh, is there? I didn't know about that. I don't follow the NRL. Seriously.
How would it be if there was another national?
Well, I mean, a lot of people have said to me that up here there's only room for a certain number of teams. We do have a lot of codes that we play in, and so it'll be interesting to see the effect. I guess in a way we have a couple of AFL teams up here as well. But each to their own. If they want to expand, that's up to them. Good luck to them. It'll be interesting to see how it goes.